Okay, bestie, grab your coffee because today's tea, whew, I wasn't ready for this one.
So, Chris Brown and Usher finally hit Charlotte, and when I tell y'all that stadium looked like the entire city decided to call in sick, I'm not even exaggerating. But here's where things got interesting. Everybody was talking about Chris Brown's entrance. Then Usher had a moment that the internet started replaying over and over. And just when I thought the night couldn't get any bigger, a hometown legend walked onto that stage and completely changed the energy. Now, here's the crazy part. Most people think they know what happened, but after watching clip after clip, I realized the biggest story wasn't what everybody was posting. So let's talk about it. Because baby, Charlotte didn't just get a concert, it got a memory. I don't think people realize how big this night really was. Hours before anybody touched a microphone, the streets around Bank of America Stadium were already packed. People were lining up in the middle of that summer heat like they were waiting for the biggest event of the year. And honestly, maybe they were. I saw videos of fans showing off outfits they'd been planning for months. Some people travel from other states. Others have been counting down since tickets first went on sale. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just another stop on the tour. This was an event, the kind people talk about years later. And y'all already know, when expectations get that high, one little mistake can ruin everything. So I kept wondering, could this concert actually live up to all that hype, or was everybody about to leave disappointed? Then the lights went out, and if you've ever been inside a packed stadium when the lights suddenly go black, you already know that feeling. Everybody starts screaming before anything even happens. Phones go up, people start grabbing their friends. The energy changes in an instant. Then, boom, Chris Brown made his entrance. Y'all, the crowd lost it. I mean, people weren't just cheering. People were literally jumping up and down. From the very first song, he came out dancing like he had something to prove. And this is what always gets me about Chris Brown. Whether you love him or criticize him, when it comes to performing, he don't play around. Every move looked rehearsed, every transition felt effortless. The man was giving everything. But hold up, because just when everybody thought Chris Brown was about to steal the whole night, Usher reminded everybody exactly why he's still one of the greatest entertainers of this generation. And trust me, what Usher did next wasn't just another performance. It reminded everybody why his name still carries so much weight. But before we get to that, something happened backstage that made the entire night feel even more personal. So now, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, Chris Brown came out swinging. The crowd is losing their minds. The energy is through the roof. How in the world do you follow that? Then the lights changed, the music softened, and out came Usher. Y'all, this wasn't one of those moments where somebody was trying to outshine somebody else. It felt like watching two different legends remind everybody why they've been at the top for so long. That's what surprised me the most. The internet loves trying to make everything a competition. Who's better? Who had the louder crowd? Who danced harder? Who sounded better? But standing there, or even watching the clips afterward, that wasn't the vibe I got at all. It felt more like two artists saying, let's give these fans a night they're never gonna forget. And honestly, I think they did exactly that. But wait, that's not even the craziest part. Just when the show was already running at full speed, the hometown surprise happened. Now, if you're from Charlotte, you probably already knew why the crowd reacted the way they did. But for everybody watching online, you could almost feel the confusion. People kept asking, who just came on stage? Then the cheers got even louder. Anthony Hamilton, Charlotte's own. And I'm not gonna lie, that was such a classy moment because instead of making the night only about the biggest stars, they paused to celebrate somebody who represents that city. Sometimes those are the moments fans remember the longest.
But here's where things took an unexpected turn. Because while everybody was celebrating, social media found something else to talk about. And y'all already know how fast the internet works. One clip, one camera angle, and suddenly everybody's timeline looked exactly the same. Usher had a brief wardrobe malfunction during the performance. It happened quickly. He laughed it off, kept performing, and the crowd kept right on going. Honestly, that's what impressed me. A lot of performers would have been embarrassed. They would have stopped the show. Usher didn't. He stayed in character, smiled, and kept entertaining over 60,000 people like nothing had happened. To me, that's professionalism. And that's when I realized something. The biggest story from Charlotte wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a viral clip. It wasn't even about who had the better performance. The real story was watching two artists with decades of experience remind everybody why live R&B still matters. No shortcuts, no lip sync debates, no unnecessary drama. Just music, just dancing, just thousands of people singing every word together. And these days, that feels kind of rare. But before I wrap my thoughts up, I started reading what fans were saying after the concert. And let me tell you, y'all, that's where the opinions got really interesting. Some people were convinced Chris Brown stole the night. Others said Usher proved why he's still untouchable. And one comment kept popping up over and over. Even a comment I honestly didn't expect. So, after watching all the clips, reading hundreds of comments, and seeing everybody argue back and forth, I finally asked myself one question. Why are we so obsessed with deciding who won? Seriously, why does one incredible performance have to cancel out another? Because from where I'm sitting, Chris Brown gave fans exactly what they came for. The choreography, the energy, the athleticism, the way he commands the stage, that's something very few performers can do at that level. Then you have Usher. Cool, effortless, confident. He doesn't have to chase the spotlight. The spotlight naturally follows him. And watching both of them share one stage instead of trying to outshine each other actually reminded me of something we've been missing in entertainment lately. Respect. But here's something I noticed. The loudest people online weren't even the people who were at the concert. Did y'all notice that? The fans who actually bought tickets, most of them were posting videos saying things like, best concert I've ever been to, or worth every penny. Meanwhile, people watching 15-second clips online were busy trying to crown a winner. And that's the funny thing about social media. Sometimes a 15-second clip tells a completely different story than a 3-hour experience. And remember that moment we talked about earlier, the wardrobe malfunction? Here's why I actually think it became such a big deal. Not because it was embarrassing, but because it reminded people that live shows are, well, live. Nothing is perfectly scripted, things happen, wardrobe issues happen, technical problems happen, people laugh, artists recover, and the show goes on.
So glad to be yours. You're a class on your own. Ooh, beauty, please talk to me. I put my hope. You're my sweetheart. I'm so glad that you're home. You are. You make me more.
Honestly, the way Usher handled it probably earned him even more respect.
And before I let y'all go, there's one more thing I want to say. Watching this concert made me realize something. R&B isn't disappearing. If anything, nights like this prove people are still hungry for it. Look at the crowd. Different ages, different backgrounds, parents, college students, people who grew up on these songs standing right next to people discovering them for the first time. Everybody singing together. That's bigger than one concert. That's a legacy. Chris Brown and Usher together on stage. Audience with phone lights, final bows, fireworks. So now I have to ask y'all, because I already know the comments are about to be interesting. If you were in that stadium, who do you think had your favorite performance? Chris Brown? Usher? Or was the real winner the fans who got to experience both on one stage? Drop your thoughts down below. Let's keep it respectful, because one thing I don't do over here is tear down artists just to lift somebody else up. If this is your first time hanging out with me, welcome to Sip with Sia, where we grab our coffee, spill the tea, separate the facts from the hype, and have real conversations about the biggest moments in entertainment. If you enjoyed today's episode, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on those notifications, because trust me, the next cup of tea is already brewing. Until next time, stay blessed and keep sipping.
Look at me now.